The father started yelling for help, but his child was caught in a hole in the sand.
You pack your bags, grab your passport, and set off for paradise, never expecting it'll be your last trip.
It was just a hole and there's nothing, and then it just became chaos and horror.
From volcanoes to quicksand to plane engines, some vacations turn deadly in the most bizarre ways.
2 tourists from Texas were electrocuted in a jacuzzi at a resort in Mexico.
Brace yourself for the most bizarre ways people died while on vacation. You know that feeling when you're a kid, digging in the sand, making tunnels and castles like you're building your own little world? For 7-year-old Sloan Mattingly, that innocent childhood game turned into something her family could never have imagined. In February 2024, Sloan was on a family vacation in Lauderdale-by-the-Sea, Florida. She and her brother started digging a deep sand hole, something kids have done for generations on the beach. But sand is deceptive. It looks light, harmless, but once it collapses, it weighs hundreds of pounds and presses in from all sides. Before anyone could react, the walls of the hole gave way, and Sloan was buried alive. Strangers rushed in, clawing at the sand with bare hands, desperate to get her out. Paramedics worked frantically, but the weight of that sand left little chance.
It didn't matter that we were literally right there. It was just a hole and there's nothing, and then it just became chaos and horror.
This kind of incident isn't as rare as people might think. Experts have long warned about the dangers of deep sand holes, yet many parents and beachgoers are unaware of the risks. What happened to Sloan was a worst-case scenario of something many consider harmless fun. It was supposed to be a sunset soak in paradise. On June 11, 2024, Jorge Guillen and his wife, Lizette Zambrano, entered a hot tub at the Sonoran Sea Resort in Puerto Peñasco, Mexico. But moments after Jorge stepped in, he was electrocuted.
The last thing I remember him saying is, "Oh," and it's the same time that I felt the first electric shock.
She tried to grab his body, but the current surged through her. Witnesses attempted to help but were forced back by the electricity. Jorge remained underwater for nearly 10 minutes. Lizette was pulled out without a pulse but survived. Jorge didn't. Now, Lizette is suing the resort's property manager, alleging they failed to activate the emergency shutoff or initiate a rescue. Her message is clear: this could have been prevented. A family vacation became a nightmare because of a hidden hazard in what should have been a safe place. It was meant to be a perfect day. On November 4th, 2012, Elizabeth Derkosh took her 2-year-old son Maddox to the Pittsburgh Zoo. He was full of energy, wearing glasses, fascinated by animals, especially the African-painted dogs. To help him see better, Elizabeth lifted him onto the wooden railing at the exhibit, and in an instant, everything went wrong. Maddox lost his balance. He fell 14 feet into the enclosure below. A safety net meant to catch dropped phones did nothing to stop him. What waited beneath wasn't a fall mat. It was a pack of wild dogs. 11 African-painted dogs surrounded the boy. Zoo staff and a police officer tried everything, throwing objects, shouting, firing shots. One dog was killed, but by the time they reached Maddox, it was too late. No charges were filed. The prosecutor called it a tragic accident. The exhibit was closed, then redesigned. But something beautiful emerged from the grief. In Maddox's memory, the family started Trucks for Maddox, a toy drive that gives joy to kids who need it most. It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime. Ian Redmond, 30 years old and just 2 weeks into his honeymoon, was snorkeling in the crystalline waters off Anse Lazio Beach in the Seychelles, a stretch so peaceful it's been called paradise. Then the water turned red. On August 16, 2011, Ian was attacked by a shark just yards from shore. He lost an arm and suffered devastating injuries to his hips. 2 men on a nearby catamaran rushed to help and pulled him from the sea. But despite their efforts and the desperate care at the hospital, Ian could not be saved. He bled out before his new wife, Gemma, could even say goodbye. Authorities closed the beach and called in shark experts from South Africa. Locals, shaken, said it had been decades since a fatal attack, and now there had been 2 in the same spot just weeks apart. Ian Redmond wasn't reckless. He was in shallow water doing what so many couples do on honeymoon, celebrating love in a place they thought was safe. They were on vacation, the kind parents dreamed of. Warm evening, children building sandcastles, laughter drifting across the shore of the Seven Seas Lagoon at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. It was June 14th, 2016. Just after 9 p.m., 2-year-old Lane Graves bent over the water's edge to fetch sand in his little bucket. When his dad looked over, all hell broke loose. An alligator lunged from the lagoon and grabbed Lane's head, dragging him beneath the surface. His father, Matt, dove in. Hands plunged into the gator's mouth in a desperate bid to save his son. But the creature broke free, taking Lane with it.
I saw the father jump in after the gator, and he rolled around in the water.
A massive 16-hour rescue search followed. Crews found Lane's body the next afternoon in about 7 feet of water. His death ruled an accident caused by drowning and traumatic injuries. Authorities captured and euthanized 6 alligators. 1 was identified as likely responsible. In the wake of overwhelming grief, Lane's parents launched the Lane Thomas Foundation, and Disney installed fences, new warnings, and even a memorial lighthouse near the beach. She was a newlywed, bursting with hopes, just 10 days into her marriage and on a dream honeymoon. Michaela McAreevy, 27, an Irish teacher and devoted daughter of a celebrated Gaelic football manager, found herself in the steamy, sunlit paradise of Mauritius. On January 10, 2011, after leaving her husband at the restaurant to fetch a biscuit and tea for them both, she returned to their hotel suite and walked into horror. She was discovered, strangled, placed in a bathtub, water running, her body staged to mirror a tragic accident.
The lady was found strangled, strangulation. She was found dead.
Her husband found her moments later, and paradise turned into nightmare in a heartbeat. Investigators arrested multiple hotel staff, but in July 2012, 2 cleaners were acquitted for lack of evidence. The trial exposed missteps, missing DNA, and no convictions. Years later, hope flickered but faded again. Key witnesses found dead. Suspects rearrested, then released. Fresh probes launched and collapsed. Each twist deepened the grief, yet her family, especially her husband John, remains relentless, demanding truth, justice, and closure. She lived for the waves and snow, chasing adventure with a smile as bright as the sunrise. Giulia Manfrini, 36, an Italian surfer and former snowboard champion, co-founded AWAVE Travel to share her passions worldwide. On October 18, 2024, she was doing just that, surfing near Mauritius Island in Indonesia's Mentawai archipelago, for the joy of it when fate struck. Out of nowhere, a swordfish, or perhaps a needlefish, pierced her upper left chest as she rode the break at Ombak Beng Beng. Witnesses, including friends Alexandre Ribas and Massimo Ferro, rushed to her side, signaled for help, and performed first aid before she could be rushed to a nearby clinic. But the wound, roughly 5 centimeters deep, proved fatal. Attempts to save her failed, and she died doing what she loved, in a place she loved. Vacations promise freedom, peace, and adventure. But for some, they became their final destinations. A reminder that even in paradise, tragedy can strike without warning. Thank you for watching.